own and I don't know what to do. It was my first time traveling by myself. Oh my god, like, am I gonna get in jail? Am I gonna get deported? Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. This is Catherine. For today's video, I'm going to share my story, how I was offloaded in Singapore Changi Airport. So please like, subscribe, and share this video if you find this useful. I will discuss about how I was offloaded, what are the things or the options that you can do if you're transiting in Australia, and how to apply for Australian transit visa. Anyway, so this is just storytelling about how I was offloaded, going through my experience, and I find this topic really interesting, and definitely I find this topic really helpful. I do not want people to experience what I've experienced. I'm sharing this awareness to everyone, especially people, first-time travelers to transit to Australia, to make sure to watch this video so you don't have to go through the nightmare I was in. But anyway, let's go dive into it. It was August 2018, around 5:30 p.m. That's when I was boarding from Davao Airport to go to Singapore Airport. I was going to visit Hamish, my fiance at the time, for the first time in New Zealand for a month. My flight was divided into 3 flights. I was going from Davao to Singapore, and then Singapore to Melbourne, and then Melbourne to Christchurch. And I was in different airline as well. It's like Cebu Pacific, Scoot, and Qantas. Anyway, so I've landed in Singapore fine. I was really nervous. It was my first time traveling by myself and outside of my home country. But when I arrived in Singapore, everything was pretty good and smooth. I've never had any issues in immigration in the Philippines. And I do have a 4 hours layover in Singapore, so I do have a lot of time to look around and get into my next flight. Now, so this is the juicy or interesting part. So when I was about to check in for my flight to Melbourne, the lady asked me about a transit visa, and I was clueless, okay, I don't know why you're asking me that. I got my visa to New Zealand and I'm not going to stay in Australia, so why do I need visa in Australia? So my mistake at the time is that I didn't really research that you actually needed transit visa if you're transiting in Australia. There's actually other options that you won't have to provide this. But anyway, at the time, in my case, I do need to have a transit visa in Australia. So yeah, so she was asking me, whether I do have that, and I said no, and she's sorry, we can't actually get you through to the plane because you will be deported if you get to Australia. And that made me really whoa, okay. I was really panicking and my anxiety is on the roof. I do hope no one get to experience this because it is an awful experience, very expensive as well. So I was trying to contact my parents. Obviously they weren't picking up because they're asleep. It was late in the Philippines already at the time that I arrived in Singapore, and Hamish was I think he was asleep as well at the time. So obviously I was stuck on my own and I don't know what to do. It was my first time traveling by myself outside my home country, and I'm in Singapore. I'm already thinking of, oh my god, am I gonna get in jail? Am I gonna get deported? Just those things. And me personally, I'm just an overthinker person. But yeah, so that's what happened. So I was offloaded. I was not able to get into my next flight to Melbourne. And I managed to speak to Hamish. We decided that we'll just book another flight, which cost us a lot of money. You can actually book a flight direct from Singapore to Christchurch. And then I was stuck in Singapore for 24 hours. What I imagined before, this is gonna be an amazing flight, experiencing this for the first time. So I was thinking oh, this is gonna be unforgettable for me. It was unforgettable in not a good way. Anyway, so I was stuck in Singapore for 24 hours, and I did manage to look around. It's a massive airport. Changi Airport is one of the best airport in the world. There's no way that you cannot enjoy staying there, being stuck there, but just the fact that I was offloaded, I wasn't really enjoying, and it wasn't really taking a lot of pictures at the time. Our videos just really it's smack bottom. That's just how I felt. But anyway, I was happy that I was managed to take off for my next flight, Singapore to Christchurch, and I arrived in New Zealand August 21, 2018, about 9 a.m. and my handsome fiance at the time, Hamish, was like waiting for me in the airport, so it was good. Yeah, so what are the things that you can do to avoid this happening to you, or what are the options that you can do if you're going to transit in Australia? Right, so first off is, if you're going to transit in Australia, make sure you do have the transit visa. That's the first option that you should have. Otherwise, you can book a flight like ditching transiting to Australia. Like for example, if you're traveling from the Philippines, you can actually just go to Singapore Airlines, select the flight that has one transit. So from Philippines to Singapore, Singapore to New Zealand. So that way you don't have to go through Australia, get all through that transit visa process, saves you a lot of time. That's option 2. Option 3 is obviously if you can't avoid booking a flight that needs to transit in Australia, that's fine, but you need to make sure that you tick these boxes, okay? So if you're transiting in Australia and you don't have a transit visa, make sure your flight is less than 8 hours, okay? And the second thing is, you have to stay in transit area. You can't clear out in the immigration and collect your baggages. So technically, meaning you have to make sure your airline is the same, so that you don't have to collect your baggage and clear through the immigration to collect your baggage, because that way they would require you to provide or show them a transit visa. Okay, so those are the 3 options to avoid being offloaded if you can't, for some reason, avoid not to transit in Australia. So again, have the transit visa firsthand, or you can just ditch transiting in Australia. Or number 3 is that just make sure your airlines are the same. You've got less than 8 hours layover in Australia, then you should be all good. And the last topic is, yes, how to apply for Australian transit visa. Okay, the good thing is it is free. You don't have to pay anything for it, and it's easy. I'll put a link below where you can log in and apply for that. Requirements wise, obviously you would need to provide a 2x2 photos of you, your passport page, your passport like stamp pages, itinerary. You need to provide as well, and there will be a lot of questions as well, like health relating kind of questions. So you just have to go through that and provide all of your passport details, your name. Last thing is you might need to provide a biometric as well. So usually they won't require a biometric, but if they do, you have to go to your closest BFS office. Now that is not free. You have to pay for whatever is the cost for the biometric to your closest BFS office. It shouldn't take too long for your visa to come through once you've done that. So that's the last part. Again, usually Australian immigration doesn't require biometric, but if they do, you just have to go through that last step to get your transit visa. Right, so transit visa, when you get it, they would usually give you a 3 days transit. So you're technically allowed to stay in Australia for 3 days until your next flight. Very much that would just save you a lot of hassle, especially if you are transiting to Australia and you have that. Make sure to have that printed as well, because usually airlines are very strict and they don't just they don't really like you showing things on your phone. So make sure you have everything printed just to avoid being offloaded again. But yeah, those are the things. I hope I did not miss anything. But if you have any other question, just comment down below. And again, I'll put the link on how to apply for Australian transit visa. Anyway, I hope this helped you guys, and I hope this would help you to not be offloaded and learn from my mistake. I've definitely learned from my mistake the hard way. So yes, I hope this helped you, and share this to anyone that you think might need this video, and we'll see you in our next vlog. Bye!